Hello and welcome to the Amtrans training video. In this video I'm going to show you how to use Amtrans to dispatch your trips. So after entering your trips in the trips module, you go to dispatch by clicking on the dispatch button. Now here you have a list of your trips for this day. Now make sure you have the right day selected by looking into this calendar or selecting the different day. So the first thing to do in the morning is to assign job numbers. To do that, you click this button. Now I'll tell you the reason for doing this. Now as you can see, I already assigned job numbers here. But to do that, you'd simply click this and click OK. The idea behind job numbers is that you can print the schedule in the beginning of the day and hand it out to your drivers, and so that when talking to them on the radio or on the cell phone, you're not going to have to spell out the names and the addresses where to pick up the patients. You can simply refer to them by job numbers. So pick up job number 3, for example, or job number 4. So that makes communications a lot easier. So after assigning the job numbers, to print the list, you simply go to File, Print and Export. And as you can see, all the information appears in this preview. Then you simply click on File and then Print. Or you can export this list to an Excel, PDF, CSV using these buttons over here, this selection. So the next thing I want to talk about is the difference in colors. You see some colors have pickup time as red and some in pink. What that means is that the red ones are pickups that are within the 15 minutes from now. Now the red are that's the red. Now the pink are within from 15 to 30 minutes from now. So this just alerts the dispatcher that you gotta send a car pretty soon to the red jobs, and then soon are to followed by the pink jobs. So that's the colors for this. Now as you can see, this little phone, picture of the phone, what that shows you, this column, is that these are the clients that need to call before the dispatcher actually sends a car for them. So if you see a checkbox in the row, like you do here, unlike here, right, this means that the patient has to call before the dispatcher actually has to pick up this patient. So this time, 8:25, is actually estimated time. I've talked about this in the trips module. Usually it's done on the return ride. Let's say the patient wasn't sure exactly how long his appointment is going to take. So the user, when setting up a trip, enters this time as an estimated time, and therefore this checkbox appears here in the dispatch module, and so the dispatcher knows not to send the car until the patient calls. Once the patient calls, the dispatcher or another call taker can mark this client, this trip, as called by clicking on this checkbox, and now this time appears in red. So now the dispatcher knows to send the car here as soon as he can and not to wait until this time, because this was just an estimated time. Okay, now these fields over here, as you can see, these are the different services which we're going to charge for, and all these are set up in the trip module, which I've talked about in the previous session. This is companions, extra drivers, wait time, steps, meaning the staircase, miles, how many miles to do the trip. Now the VIP checkbox tells the dispatcher that this is a very important trip or a very important client, and therefore to make sure to send the car on time, or maybe send specific drivers for this particular trip. Okay, so the next thing you do is you can start dispatching. Now to start dispatching, as you can see, there is the trip status column and there is a vehicle number column. So the first thing you gotta do is you gotta choose the vehicle which you want to send to this particular trip. So let's choose vehicle number 9, car 9. Once you do that, you can click on this row, on this column over here, and you can either select send, or what you can simply do is just double click on this, and car 9 is going to be marked as sent. As you can see, car 9 turned red in your vehicle list. Same thing with another. You can select another vehicle, double click, and it's going to be sent. Now let's say time goes by and your driver reported back to you that he has picked up Harry Potter, this trip over here. So as soon as he picked it up, you can double click it again, and it's gonna go to pickup mode. So as you can see, vehicle number 9 has turned into a different color for pickup. It means that this car has picked up a trip. So the driver knows when he's dispatching which cars are available. The green means it's available, sent. The red ones means sent, and this color means that the vehicle is dropping off the patient. It's going to soon turn into green as soon as that trip is done. Okay, now I'm going to show you. So after, let's say the driver reports back again saying that this trip is completely done with, the driver has dropped off the patient, so you can simply double click, and this status turns into done. And same thing, let's do with this one. Done. Now these columns can be sorted and filtered any way you'd like. So let me show you first the to-do button. To-do button basically shows all the trips that are not in the done status. Let's say after several trips you have here are done, the dispatcher doesn't want to see those trips anymore. He has no use for them now anymore. So in that case, he clicks on the to-do, and this list becomes filtered by only statuses open, pickup, or sent. So for example, if I choose one of the cars and I mark it as sent and I click to do, see, this trip still appears here because it has not been done. So the only trips that are missing from after clicking to do are the done trips. Now to remove this filter, to go back to seeing everything, you simply click on this checkbox, or on this X on the bottom. And now you can see all the trips again. Now these columns can be filtered any way you'd like. So for example, if I want to see only the taxi trips, or the taxi, so I click on this little box on the right hand corner of the column header, and I choose taxi. And now I only see the trips that have taxi as their category. To remove this filter, simply click on this X. Now the next thing I want to talk about is sending pagers to the driver. So for example, let's say I want to assign car number. Now let me explain a little bit about the job numbers again. Now the job numbers, since we assign job numbers at the beginning of the day, that's when they appear. But let's say you have a trip that was entered right now at the same time while you're dispatching for the current day. So in that case, as soon as one of the users enters that trip in the trip module for today, this trip would appear here without a job number because you assigned job numbers in the mornings. So this trip would appear, the trip that was scheduled for today and that was called in today, it would appear without the job number right here. So in that case, the driver does not have it on his list. So in that case, what you gotta do, you gotta somehow pass the information of a trip to the driver. So to do that, to make it simple, you can simply send a page to the driver, and I'll show you how to do that. You click on the row which you want to send the pager to, you right click on it, and you click on page. But first thing you gotta do before you click on page, you have to assign a job number, a car number, so that the program knows which car to send the page to. So for example, let's use car number, let's use 2. So as soon as you have the car number in there, without changing the status of the trip. So now you can right click and click on page, and what this does, it opens up your default email software. With all the information about the patient in the subject line and the from and to addresses in the body of the email. And as you can see, this is the email address. Usually I talked more about this in the setup module, but usually these the pager number usually goes, it's a little bit different format. It usually is something like this. If the driver has like a pager or a cell phone that can receive text messages, something like this. This is going to be based on entirely on what you enter in the setup module. Then you click on send to send the pagers, and it would send this information to that pager. So let me show you what I mean by this number. So when you go to File, Setup, as you can see in the Vehicles tab, you have each of the vehicles, right? You can enter new vehicles, and here you have the pager number. So in here, the format is usually not done like this. To send the pager to the email, it's usually something like this. So when setting up M-Trans for the first time, you would have to find out the email addresses of each of the pagers and enter them in, as you can see. Okay, and next thing I want to talk about is directions. Let's say you want, the driver doesn't know exactly how to get there, and you gotta give him directions. So instead of going into Google and typing the addresses in, you can simply click on right click and click on the directions choice over here, and that's gonna bring up Google Maps with the addresses filled in for you to see the directions. Let's say you want to see the information, some other information about this trip, like the insurance that covers it, and you don't want to go off the screen to go to trip. You can simply click on right click on info, and this little screen comes up where you can see the other information about this trip, like who entered this trip, who booked it. Now let's say you want to search for a client. Let's say your list gets big and you have to scroll to see all the trips, and you want to search for the client. You can simply click on this checkbox and search by the last name. So for example, I want to search for Potter. So here it finds it and it scrolls it right to it. And that is pretty much it for the trips module. Thank you for watching.